Everyone can and should embrace the unpredictability of life, confidently stepping into the unknown and be unburdened by fear. Now, reflect on how fear has shaped your life. Think about the opportunities you've avoided, the joy you've sabotaged, and the parts of life you've missed. Fear, a primal emotion ingrained in our biology as a survival tool, is essential in protecting us. But what happens when this survival instinct becomes a force that controls us, shaping our lives and actions? In this journey, we'll explore the truth about fear, what it is, how it manifests, and most importantly, how to overcome it. At its core, fear is a response to uncertainty, designed to protect us from potential threats, whether real or imagined. Originating from the ancient part of our brain, the amygdala, fear kept our ancestors alive in the wild. However, in the modern world, fear often misfires. We no longer face physical dangers like wild animals or warring tribes, yet our brains interpret social rejection, financial instability, or failure as existential threats. A rare and relevant quote which says, "No one has won a battle with overthinking," which translates to, much of our fear is illusory. It's not the actual event we fear, but the stories we create in our minds about what could go wrong. Consider the last time you felt afraid. Perhaps it was speaking in public, making a tough decision, or stepping into something unknown. What did you truly fear? Was it the event itself or the narrative you constructed around it? Psychologists call this catastrophizing, where we imagine the worst possible outcome, even when there's little evidence for it. The fear of failure, rejection, or even death is often more terrifying than the event itself. The anticipation of negative outcomes is more painful than the outcomes themselves. So, how do we break free from this cycle? The first step is awareness. You must recognize when fear is controlling you. Start observing your thoughts and catch yourself in the act of catastrophizing. Ask yourself whether the fear you're experiencing is grounded in reality or if it's a figment of your imagination. The next step is reframing your perspective. Rather than seeing fear as an enemy, view it as a teacher. Every fear offers a lesson. The fear of failure teaches resilience, the fear of rejection teaches self-worth, and the fear of the unknown teaches courage. The difference between those who are controlled by fear and those who conquer it is not the absence of fear, but how they relate to it. The psychologist Carl Jung noted, "What you resist persists." The more you try to suppress fear, the stronger it becomes. By acknowledging, facing, and embracing it, fear begins to lose its power over you. Additionally, fear and excitement are closely related. The physical response to fear, racing heart, sweaty palms, shallow breathing, is almost identical to the response to excitement. The key difference lies in interpretation. Instead of saying, "I'm terrified," try saying, "I'm excited." This simple shift in language can transform your experience. Public speakers, athletes, and performers use this technique to turn fear into fuel. Only boldness can deliver us from fear. And if the risk is not taken, the meaning of life is violated. But what if fear is deeply ingrained in you? What if it feels impossible to overcome? The answer lies in action, specifically exposure. Every time you avoid what you fear, you reinforce its control over you. But each time you confront it, its grip weakens. This is the basis of exposure therapy, where you gradually face your fears in controlled ways. For example, if public speaking terrifies you, start by speaking in small groups. If social interactions make you anxious, begin with short conversations. As you face your fears, your brain learns that you survived, and over time, what once felt terrifying becomes manageable, then effortless. Fear often wears masks that seem rational, leading us to believe that avoidance is the safest choice. But in reality, the more we avoid, the more fear grows. Fear thrives in the shadows of inaction, feeding on uncertainty and doubt. What if the thing you fear most is actually the gateway to your growth? What if fear is not a warning to retreat, but a signpost pointing towards transformation? The philosopher Joseph Campbell said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." This notion is both daunting and liberating because it reveals that fear is not the enemy, it's a guide. Fears are nothing more than a state of mind. This concept is evident in the idea of the comfort zone, a psychological state where we feel safe, in control, and unchallenged. While this zone feels secure, it also limits growth. True transformation occurs outside of this comfort zone, in the realm of discomfort, uncertainty, and yes, fear. Reflect on the most significant moments of growth in your life. Were they comfortable, or were they filled with challenges and risks? The reality is that meaningful achievements require us to step beyond the familiar. When fear feels overwhelming, understanding the growth zone can help. Between the comfort zone and the panic zone is the sweet spot where growth happens. In the growth zone, you face challenges that stretch you without breaking you. This is where you take calculated risks, push your boundaries gradually, and let fear exist without letting it dominate you. Do the thing you fear to do and keep on doing. That is the quickest and surest way ever yet discovered to conquer fear. A quote that Ralph Waldo Emerson said should further encourage you to be bold and playfully adventurous. Another way to transform fear is by changing the narrative we tell ourselves. Cognitive behavioral therapy focuses on the principle that our thoughts influence our feelings, which then shape our actions. By identifying and challenging distorted thinking patterns, we can change how we perceive fear. For example, instead of thinking, "I'll fail if I speak up," reframe it as, "I have valuable ideas to share, and not everyone has to agree with me." Over time, as you consistently challenge fear-based thoughts, they lose their power. Community also plays a crucial role in overcoming fear. Fear thrives in isolation, growing stronger when we keep it hidden. But when we share our fears with others, they lose their grip. Surround yourself with a supportive community that encourages growth, challenges limiting beliefs, and reminds you of your capabilities. It's important to recognize that fear is a natural part of life and that it will never fully disappear. The goal is not to become fearless but to fear less. The key is to feel the fear and move forward anyway. Start by embracing small acts of courage daily. Speak up when you'd rather stay silent. Try something new even if the outcome is uncertain. Momentum builds confidence, and with each act of courage, you reinforce the message to yourself that you can handle it. There is a deeper truth to fear, one that transcends strategies and techniques. What if fear is not an enemy to be defeated, but a teacher guiding us toward the areas of growth we need? Every time you face a fear and move through it, you don't just survive, you transform. Fear becomes a catalyst for personal growth. This realization shifts everything. As the philosopher Alan Watts said, the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. Fear often arises from resistance to change, from the desire to control outcomes and cling to the familiar. But life is change. The more we resist, the more we create fear. When we accept change, we find freedom. Mindfulness, the practice of being fully present, is another powerful tool for transforming fear. By observing fear without judgment, you allow it to exist without letting it define you. When you pause, breathe deeply, and notice fear's physical sensations in your body, you become the observer, not the victim. This practice rewires your brain, reducing the fear response and allowing you to respond more rationally. Courage is also key to overcoming fear. It's not the absence of fear, but the ability to move through it. Nelson Mandela, who faced immense fear during his fight against apartheid, said, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." Courage is a muscle that gets stronger with use. Start small, take manageable risks, and celebrate every victory. Your courage becomes contagious, inspiring others to face their fears as well. It always seems impossible until it is done. At the core of many fears lies the fear of death, not just physical death, but the loss of identity, the fear of the unknown. Confronting this existential fear can be liberating. The more we accept the impermanence of life, the less fear controls us. As the Buddha discovered, when we let go of attachment and embrace impermanence, fear loses its grip. Fear is temporary. Regret is forever. Thinking will not overcome fear, but action will. To summarize, the path to overcoming fear involves acknowledging it without judgment, breathing through it, reframing your narrative, taking small actions, and cultivating gratitude. Fear may never disappear, but by embracing it fully, you reclaim control. When you understand that fear is not an obstacle but a guide, you unlock the potential to live boldly and embrace life fully. The life you dream of is not beyond your fear, it's waiting through it. The key is to move forward, step by courageous step,